Is this thing on? Okay. I think we're good. Okay, hello, my name is Ryan, and, today I'll be reading my, treatment proposal for, my newest project, The Fabelmans. It's going to star Michelle Williams, Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Judd Hirsch, and newcomer Gabriel LaBelle, and it's going to be written and directed by Steven Spielberg. He's going to be co-writing this with Tony Kushner, and of course we're going to have music by John Williams, and it's going to be produced by Steven Spielberg's own production company, Amblin Entertainment. And so this movie is going to be an semi-autobiographical movie about Steven Spielberg's own life, and okay, I'm sorry, I'm just messing with y'all. This is not, of course it's nothing like that. Of course it's gonna be a movie review. I mean, I don't even know why I'm wearing a suit, to be honest. Whew, okay, that's much better. Alright, anyways. So this movie is essentially a semi-autobiographical film loosely based on Steven Spielberg's own adolescent life and of his first years as a young aspiring filmmaker, and it is told through an original fictional story of a young Simon Fabelman, or Sammy as he's nicknamed in the movie, who discovers his passion for filmmaking and how he wants to pursue and explore this newfound passion of his for the future ahead of him, until he also finds out that through the power of filmmaking, it also has the ability to help him uncover and see the truth, lies, and secrets of the world around him, including his own dysfunctional family, which this film also heavily focuses on. This is a very different Steven Spielberg film than what we're used to seeing from him, not the typical blockbuster film that we're kind of used to seeing Steven Spielberg put out there. But I will say that through how Steven Spielberg directed this movie and made this movie and produced this movie, it just really makes me appreciate his filmmaking style and filmmaking talent even more. You know, this is his most personal movie that he's ever made yet, and one he's been working on for the longest time. So to see him put up how he put all of his heart, dedication, and soul into this film, it really shows in the final product. This movie has some of the best acting I've seen throughout last year in 2022. It's tied with Everything Everywhere All at Once, another movie I've seen earlier last year, but it's another movie for another day. Michelle Williams being my absolute favorite in this movie. I think she truly brings out the heart and emotion of this movie. And even just through the simplest of actions, whether it's the dance sequence that she does during the family's camping trip in the movie, yeah, even through just simple actions without any words, she's able to bring out, you know, the inner conflicts that she has within herself, even without words. And I think that Michelle Williams' ability to portray that is absolutely incredible. And Gabriel LaBelle as Simon Fabelman / Sammy Fabelman is, man, he's really good in this role. And, you know, he's also mentioned that he's felt really nervous when he was approached for this role, and the fact that he was able to take up this task that Steven Spielberg set him to do, because he literally is portraying a semi-autobiographical yet fictional version of Steven Spielberg himself. So of course it makes sense that he was very intimidated and nervous from the get-go, but I think he just absolutely knocks it out of the park. And, you know, even if it's not based on Steven Spielberg, I absolutely feel for him, and I can follow every single one, you know, every single step of his journey, and, you know, just feel for his character. And yeah, you know, he's got such a bright future ahead of him. He's got a lot of potential. Judd Hirsch was also really good for that one scene. He really only has like one scene in the movie, which lasts for like just less than 10 minutes.
Family, art, it'll tear you in two.
You know, for that one scene, I think for his acting was really good, especially when his character is the sole reason, the sole major cause for Simon/Sammy's major conflict that he has within himself that lasts throughout this entire movie. But yeah, Judd Hirsch, really good in that scene. Paul Dano was also really good, and Seth Rogen was also really good as well. And it was also really nice to see Seth Rogen in a more serious role than I've seen him in other movies. You know, I think this is probably the most serious that he's ever portrayed a role. You know, I think he mentioned that he made Steven Spielberg cry at times on set. So yeah, props to Seth Rogen too. But the thing I really loved about this movie, actually, is all the scenes of Sammy filming and producing his films, and how he edits them. It really gave me Hugo vibes. For those who haven't seen or don't know the film Hugo, it's based on a novel of The Adventures of Hugo Cabret or something like that. When we get Georges Méliès's flashback of the films he made in his own studio, we get to see how he makes them, how he creates his own special effects with the magic that he had because he was a magician before, and how he edits them by cutting down the film reels, the film reel tapes. And yeah, this movie of Fabelmans just gave me those Hugo vibes too. You know, from Sammy trying to create his own special effects and stunts with his Boy Scout friends in his school, especially for the Western film that they made. The way he edits them as well by cutting up the film strips, yeah, that reminded me of Hugo in the movie, and directing how his actors should express their emotions, especially for his Boy Scout student war film that he made, and his knowledge on cameras too. All that, you know, seems like this is what made me fall in love with the art of cinema and filmmaking in the first place. And they are what get me so intrigued with film and inspire me to, you know, want to try going out to create my own projects myself in the first place, because they encapsulate the true magic, meaningful and magical essence of which makes films, what films is all about, you know? And I think me doing YouTube right here, right now, even, can be a small, or at least a starting example of that too. It perfectly, brilliantly, effectively encapsulates and encompasses the journey and passion of which a young filmmaker has to take from start to finish. Well, literally not literally to the straight to actual finish, just basically up to another major part of his journey. It starts from where they got their inspiration, or the moment that sparked their interest in the subject, to the difficulties of trying to get into the business, of finding a job in the industry, and then finally making it into the industry. Also love some of the shots and cinematography in the movie as well. They just don't show the scene, you know, but play a part in telling the story of the Fabelmans family. Whether it's Sammy, you know, going on a camping trip, recording his family camping trip, or going into the beach to record, you know, new school's, you know, beach day. And I just really like the creativity and art of the shots that pay off in the film's final scene, especially when Sammy meets one of his idols, John Ford specifically, where he gives him some advice on framing, where the horizon line should be, which the horizon line is basically where the line of the ground meets the sky in a shot or in a frame of a movie. And how the camera literally repositions itself by breaking the fourth wall, taking John Ford's advice in the last shot of the film. This film really emphasized on the family dynamic of the Fabelmans, which is not exactly what I expected going in. You know, I really did think it was going to be about, you know, his coming of age story, of an aspiring filmmaker and his path to becoming one, and like going from making his school films to making his way into the industry and starting with indie films and eventually into television, and then just stop there, because I don't think we need to go as far as to the movie part of his journey. But I really thought that this film would delve more into that. It's an aspect that instead of focusing on the relationship of the dysfunctional family. So I was therefore really surprised that, you know, after seeing the movie, that it was really about the family dynamic of the Fabelmans. However, I was also pleasantly surprised, because despite it being a different movie than I expected, the film still really worked for me. You know, I still really like the film for what it is, and how it tackles the ups and downs of a dysfunctional family really well. And it really makes sense because Steven Spielberg really wanted to tell his own personal story through a fictional story, and I think it worked really well. But since this is a semi-autobiographical film, there are, of course, some scenes that are going to be that were dramatized versions of Steven Spielberg's life. So not everything in this movie is 100% truthful or 100%, you know, representative of Steven Spielberg's own life. So if this is what you were looking for some reason, then yeah, don't go with such high expectations or anything like that. But however, I personally think that it all does work in a satisfying way for the story and the characters. But yeah, this is something I'll leave to you in the comments, to be honest. I'll leave that opinion to you. I just want to also quickly go over some of the themes, concepts, and ideas that were tackled in this movie. First, you know, the cliche, finding your own dream, passion, and interest, and chasing after them and not giving up on doing so. You know, that's the very cliche kind of theme you see in a lot of movies, including this one. There are also some anti-Semitism or anti-Semitism themes that come into play in this movie, especially when in Sammy's new school, where he's bullied because of his religion, because he's half Jewish, half Hebrew. And yes, the Fabelmans family is also half Jewish, which is reminiscent to Steven Spielberg's own religion / nationality, that he is also half Jewish. But one of the main themes in this movie that goes back to Judge Hirsch's character is your interests / passions / ambitions versus your family and friends. Which, Judge Hirsch's great Uncle Boris, that's the name of his character, Uncle Boris. His character basically gives Sammy the big talk in this movie, and that's where Judge Hirsch's acting shines through. And this conflict is created in this movie that not only a lot of creative people have, but I think just about anybody can have. So this can be very relatable to all of us. I have also gone through this as well, without going into any personal details. And, it's just the fear of what people would think of you, but also the excitement of your own passions and ambitions, but also the fear of failing, but then at the same time, the emotional, touching moments of seeing your dreams become a reality. But yes, the theme of the exploration of the power that film has as a means of both, helping audiences see from the filmmakers or other people's or each other's perspective, and even helping filmmakers see themselves, see the things that are being filmed, don't realize while there, but the filmmakers can reveal to themselves while after filming. But I hope that all makes sense. But it's because in this case, Sammy's love for filmmaking eventually puts a strain on his family and his relationship with them, or reveals the dysfunctionality of his family, and in that he finds out through his camera recordings, particularly on their family camping trip, which I keep bringing up, that his mother, Mitzi, who is the name of Michelle Williams' character, is cheating on his father, Bert, who's played by Paul Dano, with his friend Benny, who's played by Seth Rogen. And that's one of the major subplots of this movie, and that leads to the eventual fall of this family. It gets really sad once they start tearing apart, given how tight and together with love that they had in the beginning of the film. So it is heart-wrenching to see them fall apart. And, this film exploring how film can also reveal things about, others that they wouldn't see but only you can see. It's really played well effectively here. But at the end of the day, this is a great film for those who are really passionate about filmmaking. This is a great film for all you Steven Spielberg fans out there, even if it's not your typical blockbuster film that Steven Spielberg normally puts out. The acting is absolutely top-notch, and some of the best performances of 2022. Even though the film is focusing very heavily on the dysfunctional family aspect of the film, is something that I wasn't expecting, as I personally was looking forward to the film focusing more on Sammy's journey to becoming a big name in the industry, like Steven Spielberg eventually did. I still highly recommend watching this movie wherever and whenever it's available, and just give it all the love and support it deserves, as it is Steven Spielberg's passion project at the end of the day of trying to tell his life story in his own unique and special way, and I think every single passion project deserves to be seen. I'm going to give The Fabelmans a 9 out of 10 and an A. One of the other things I actually don't really like about this movie is the fact that it's a box office bomb. Like, I'm so upset that it's a box office bomb because more people really need to see this movie. More people need to appreciate more films like this. We don't get films like this every day, and these sorts of films can prove to be entertaining, thrilling, and engaging to even mainstream audiences that typically go to comic book, superhero action films nowadays. Like, even films like The Fabelmans can still keep you on your seats. Because think about it, most films nowadays, and I don't intend to bring this up as a big kind of topic in the way of this video, but most films nowadays, I have to admit, they rather put out an extremely, political and provocative agenda out there to the point of needing to educate audiences because they think we're dumb enough not to know these things already for ourselves. But this movie is a nice break from that, and it's nothing like that, It's one that's just brilliant, and a brilliant art film all around that focuses on effective storytelling as priority number one. But all this stuff about, agendas being put into films is a topic that I can do for another day. Alright guys, so that's going to be my review for The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's most passionate project. So my question is for you guys, have you seen Fabelmans? And if so, what did you think of it? You can let me know in the comments below if you have, and where you rank it in terms of your favorite Steven Spielberg films as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. RHINOS ROLLOUT! And one top 3 film of 2022 for me down, and 2 more to go.